Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of Startup Central. I'm Avan Dabash. This is the show where we focus in on technology, disruption, as well as all news and views within the startup ecosystem. Paytm is in the spotlight yet again with respect to some financial updates. The company's losses widened to about 761 crore rupees, and the company has said that they are on track to break even on the EBITDA level by FY23 Q2. In fact, not just that, there was the reappointment of Vijay Shekhar Sharma as the Managing Director and CEO. Let's understand all of these highlights and details in terms of their investment plans as well as financials. My colleague Harsh has the details. Harsh?
Well, Paytm declared its Q4 FY22 numbers, and let's break those numbers down for you. Revenue went up 89% year on year, almost 6% sequentially. 1541 crore is where that has come through. Contribution profit to up, almost tripling up to around that 540 crore mark. When we're looking at losses, they've widened on the back of higher employee costs, ESOP costs elevated as well. However, when we're looking at the operational side of things, right, 5 times year-on-year growth in terms of loans, in fact, up 70% quarter-on-quarter. Mind you, loans has been a big part of the Paytm story, at least over the last 3 to 4 quarters. So definitely heartening to see that. When we're looking at loans distributed, that also up around 375% year-on-year. 65 lakh loans distributed versus 44 lakh in Q3 itself. And when we're looking at GMV, that's doubled up on a year-on-year basis at 2.6 lakh crore. The number of payment devices have gone up 45% quarter-on-quarter. That's come in at around 29 lakhs. And when we're looking at revenue from financial services in specific, that too has gone up very healthily from 38 crore to almost 170 crore when we're looking at it year on year. So, decent set of numbers broadly, but let's try and look at what the management has had to say. So one, they've said that ESOP costs have been elevated. They'll continue to remain elevated. In fact, they're expecting ESOP costs to remain quite high, at least for another 8 quarters going forward. The company is focused on loans and payments as well. Company is adding roughly 800 to 900,000 devices every quarter, and these devices are helping contribute to loans disbursed. In fact, 75% of loans disbursed are to merchants with these devices. They've also made a foray into insurance, even though very negligible, 1,000 crore investment expected over the next 10 years or so. So really nothing meaningful there. But along with it, they're going to foray into another 2 to 3 other financial services. The new hiring of employees has, of course, kept costs elevated. However, they don't expect an additional hiring or a fresh round of hiring of new or additional employees over and above what has already come through, especially in FY23. So that's how it looks like for Paytm at the end of Q4.
But moving on then, let's focus in on the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 2-day visit to Tokyo, where he will be meeting for the Quad Leader Summit on the 24th of May. Well, over there, he met with Masayoshi Son, who we all know is the founder of SoftBank. Well, Masayoshi Son had to say that new startups are coming every day and unicorns within the country are growing quite quickly, and he believes that the future for India is very bright. Let's listen in.
India is growing very quickly. A new startup every day, new unicorns coming very quickly. So India is very quickly becoming number 3 in the world for new startup and unicorns. I think India's future is bright. Prime Minister Modi is committed for the success of India, for supporting startup, for creating more unicorns and making center of high tech in the world.
Gogoro, which is widely considered to be one of the global leaders in battery swapping for the light electric vehicle space, is in the limelight. The company's CEO is Mr. Horace Luke, and he's in conversation with my colleague Nayantara Rai. Let's take it across to that.
On 1st of February this year, that's a Union Budget Day, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, as part of a budget speech, talked about electric vehicles giving an impetus particularly to battery swapping. A battery is the most expensive component in an electric vehicle. It's also one that has been grabbing a lot of the headlines because, as you have seen, due to safety standards, maybe not doing enough testing, in a rush to get product out on the road, we've seen EVs go up in flames. We've been hearing horrific stories about those that have been injured. Battery swapping is, however, being spoken about as the way forward. On budget day itself, I had the privilege of interviewing Pavan Munjal, promoter of the world's largest two-wheeler company in the world, and he said even Hero MotoCorp is going to be getting into battery swapping. Today on ET Now, we get to one of Hero MotoCorp's partners. It is Gogoro, which is live with us, and the CEO is with us, Horace Luke. They will be working with Hero MotoCorp. We don't know if this company will be working with other EV makers, so let's ask the CEO. Hello, welcome to ET Now. Greetings from India. Thanks so much for agreeing to this interview. So you folks have big plans for India. What are they, and are they going to be exclusively with Hero MotoCorp?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. Gogoro has always sought out to be the platform that enable electrification of two-wheelers and three-wheelers to be adopted by the masses across the world. When we started, we really looked at the challenges of the city with all the space constraints, and as you mentioned, battery being one of the most expensive part of the component of the vehicle. We always thought there was going to be handicap and challenges to to adoption of electric vehicle, and so we came up with the idea of batteries not included. And through that, the consumer will buy a vehicle and then swap the battery whenever and however they want to do it all around town. In Taiwan is where we kind of proved the model over the last several years. And we've been fortunate enough in Taiwan to now be able to demonstrate well over 10% market share. And in electric vehicle adoption, we're 95%, not only just by ourselves, but also with partners such as Yamaha, Suzuki Taiwan, A-Motor, a total of 10 different brands offering 47 different models of vehicles all across our platform. So yes, the idea is an open, interoperable platform that allows multiple vehicle makers to innovate and deliver vehicles on this platform. That's the vision of the company. But of course, with our good friend Dr. Munjal with the Hero MotoCorp, we've been working together very deeply on creating a vehicle not only for battery swapping, in India, but also a vehicle that could actually approach and be something that satisfies the usage case of the masses. So we're excited. We're targeting an end of the year launch in India, and we've been working really hard to bring up the vehicle and bring up the technology together.
So that photograph that we all saw of Pavan Munjal in Dubai, and there was, the EV bike, which still needs to be unveiled. Is that the one that you have been working in partnership with?
Well, there are multiple. I would say there are multiple. It's not just a single vehicle. It's going to be a portfolio vehicle that is going to be using battery swapping. People like different styles. They want something that is more, I would say, sporty, or somebody might want something that's more utilitarian. Somebody might want something that is a little more easier to own. I think with Hero MotoCorp, and especially with the scale and capacity that Dr. Munjal has built up over the years, and as you just mentioned, they are the number one. Hero MotoCorp is a number one vehicle maker, not only in one of the world's largest market, India, but also across the world. So with Dr. Munjal, the idea is always to build a portfolio of vehicle so that we can actually take advantage of the manageability and the safety of battery swapping. And so, the idea is really around, not only the convenience of battery swapping, but also more importantly, because you swap the battery, every several days, you would come back and swap that battery. And through that swapping, we'll be able to monitor the safety, manage the battery, have traceability when it comes to knowing what is the health condition, what is temperature, what is the performance of those batteries. That is exactly what we have designed for in Taiwan for so many years, and now the technology is mature. Now the usability is actually all worked out and it's easy to do, and our solution is very comprehensive. Now we're ready to bring it to India, where of course it's the world's second largest two-wheeler market, and we're excited to be able to bring our solution to India.
As you bring your solutions to India, you're doing it at a time when the consumer is perhaps a little wary of electric vehicles. As you know, Ola S1 bike went up in flames. It started off with that. After that, we've seen more than 6,000 EVs being recalled across multiple brands. That's all happened in a few weeks. Why are you ready to come to India and for your battery swapping infrastructure to be at play without any road testing?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, we've been actually testing the system over in Taiwan for many years through many generations. So now we have actually, just as of last month, we actually shipped the 1 millionth battery that we have produced over 3 generations of battery innovation. At the same time, we have innovated on our battery swapping machines that you see in the back here, that today we've deployed over 12,000 cabinets all throughout Taiwan, with over 500,000 vehicle riders all riding around without any major incidents over the last several years. The difference is that we can see and we can manage every battery. We can watch it, we can assess it, and we can grab it if something happens. And that is the difference between the system that we have created versus a traditional plug-in charging and tether charging vehicle, where it completely disappears from your site once you move the vehicle to the consumer. Now, the consumer can be bringing it into the house and charge at home at night while they're sleeping, super dangerous, right? Or they're charging on the side of the road where it's full of people. The difference is we have actually built a system that actually can handle, in the machine that you see behind me on the back of my photograph here, it can handle hundreds of vehicles on swapping. And we have also stations that we call Super Go station that puts about 3 or 4 of these together, and putting 3 or 4 of these together in the same spot as a parking lot size for a single 4-wheel vehicle, about 17 square meter, we're able to satisfy over 1,000 vehicles. So we can actually concentrate the swapping into an area of a city where maybe it's not as dangerous because there's not as many people surrounding it all time, right? We can actually plan and design our deployment for the safety of the public. At the same time, manageability and traceability of these batteries, real time is super important. Being able to call up at any time and say which battery is performing a certain way, so we can predict what's going to happen, will actually add to the safety. We have spent a lot of time in Gogoro and a lot of resources and a lot of development effort around not only managing the battery, but creating an AI and machine learning system that actually helps watch every battery that's on the network,
right,
optimizing it, making sure that it is it's deployed to the right person at the right time.
But tell me, all of this will take care. Your batteries will be fine with the temperatures that we are in right now. I'm in New Delhi. We are nearing 50 degrees Celsius. That's half the boiling point of water. Our roads, not the best. There are potholes. Your battery is all safe for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our battery is actually designed at operating temperature at way higher than your ambient temperature in Delhi today. Now, the temperature operates at a range of -20 degrees in a freezing temperature all the way up to 85 degrees Celsius. I don't think we'll be all seeing, hopefully we won't see 85 degrees Celsius on ambient temperature in the city anytime soon. But the idea is really how do you manage these batteries and design exactly to your point, the severe use case and road condition of places like India, right? That's exactly what we designed for. The ability for us to take a shock. Our battery is the only battery in the world that can sustain a 1,000 times its own weight compression and without any incidents. So think of it, like literally a battery can be thrown off a vehicle and thrown into the road and a truck can run over it, and we can actually make sure that the battery does not catch on fire. That is something that we spend a lot of time designing around, right? Designing for drop, designing for vibration, designing for extreme weather condition, designing for flood, to ensure that our battery is completely waterproof and sealed. Our communication on the battery uses, wireless instead of using traditional connection, so that we can ensure the connectivity to the battery, the data connectivity and the control connectivity to the battery, to the vehicle is all the time connected. So it doesn't matter if you put it on the ground and you got something trapped in the pin, you can actually make sure that the vehicle is, is communicating 100% of the time with the battery. That's something that we designed the system for, is to ensure that we can meet every road condition. And to be honest, we have deployed a million batteries now in Taiwan, swapped hundreds of millions of times. Every day we handle about 300,000 battery swaps a day. And believe me, with 500,000 riders on the network, whatever you can think of, we have seen it and we have solved for it. And that's something that we're very proud of. And when the system is ready, we're going to deploy in India.
So what exactly are you planning to deploy in India? Your battery swapping stations is like, your battery size is what, like the size of what we call in India a lunchbox tiffin, about this big is what I understand it to be. It's a hot swap, so while the machine is on, you just, pick it up, swap the battery. It takes 5 minutes, so you save time on supercharging. It may be safer, like you said, than having it in your condo or, at your place of residence, office, this, that, and the other. How much is it going to cost? What are your India plans?
Well, it is actually, what we aim for is a total cost of ownership that is, no more than actually a gas vehicle today. So with a gas vehicle, you would buy the vehicle and then you would go to the gas station and fuel up, right? And of course, in India, gas is not cheap, right? And with the move toward a cleaner gasoline fuel, the price is going to go up. Now, the beauty of electric and with battery swapping is that we actually designed the program similar to gas. You only pay as much as you use. The more you use, the more you pay. The less you use, the less you pay. And with battery, the trend of battery and electronics has always been kind of walking toward the lower price over time, right? As technology matures, as density of battery increases, we will see over time, over the next decade or two, definitely a trend toward a more affordable electric battery swapping system than maybe perhaps years ago when I first started. So we have kind of seen that over the last several years, and we see that the inflection point is coming here very soon, and that's why we're very proud of working with Dr. Munjal and Hero MotoCorp to deploy in India.
But will there be interoperability between all of the players, whether it is you talking to the other players or Dr. Munjal talking to other players? Because as a consumer, if I'm going to go in for a model which will have a battery swapping, will I have to go to like each company's different battery swapping network station, or will there be interoperability between all the brands?
Yeah, Dr. Munjal and I've always had a open, kind of welcoming platform in mind. But of course, it takes a very focused effort to prove this out, to make sure that we deliver great user experience for the customer, right? And this is why we have formed this very deep partnership with Hero MotoCorp to be able to develop a vehicle, bring it up in a pilot, bring it up in scale, to prove that the interoperability can be had. And then, of course, the platform will then be opened up to others. Always the idea was to, let's not try to, kind of do everything all at once, but really focus on delivering a great user experience for the customer. And upon proving that success, then open up the network to others to be able to leverage the risk and the investment that was taken by Dr. Munjal and myself. The idea is very similar to repeating that same model in Taiwan, right? Where we, for the first year or so, we really deployed only the Gogoro vehicle. And upon the system kind of successfully deployed and customers being happy with it, then we actually offer up the system to everybody else and help other vehicle maker actually come onto the network and use it, because the more customers that you use on the swapping network, the more actually, I would say, efficiency you get out of the network. And that's what we want to do. We want to get great efficiency out of the network. And that's what we designed the system to do.
And to do that, how much are you willing to commit to India? Like, have you allocated a big investment? Are you still in the process of doing that?
Well, in Taiwan, for example, we have put well over, I think, $400–500 million into, not only the development of the system, but also the deployment of the system. In Taiwan today, we have 1 million batteries deployed at over, slightly over 2,000 locations in Taiwan, and we have over 11,000 cabinets all throughout Taiwan. We have more locations than gas stations in metropolitan cities across Taiwan. Aiming to actually overcome that on the entire island of Taiwan, we should have more stations than the gas stations all throughout Taiwan by the end of this year. The same scale and the same investment will be needed, if not even more, for India. Now, what we believe is that, as customer comes on board, the confidence level builds, and as we take, use, for example, New Delhi as a proof point, then we can actually then scale that quickly as we add consumers on. Very different than, I would say, if you think about mobile operator network would require you to make this huge amount of investment all at once before the first person actually come on board. In Taiwan, in Taipei, we started with just 31 stations. And then quickly, because we can see and monitor where people are swapping and where people are going with the vehicle, we can then actually fill in the gap very quickly and deploy very quickly these stations and batteries to fill up. And so it's a very controllable launch as we deploy. Same thing is going to happen with India. And I really look forward to bringing out usability and our great user experience to our customers in India, along with Hero MotoCorp.
It's going to have to be more than what you're talking about in Thailand and Taiwan. Like, we're much, much, much bigger.
And you know what? We're designed for that. Taiwan is only a pilot. Taiwan to us is a pilot to prove that technology works. That we can actually create a vehicle and the customer will be happy with it. And that we can manage these batteries real time, all of them across all the slots and all the batteries that are deployed in the vehicle. And now that the proof case is done, we're getting ready to go into markets like, for example, we are already deploying in places like China, where we have successfully deployed in Hangzhou, in Wuxi, and Kunming, and with several more cities to come. Same thing with India. We're going to start with Delhi, and then we're going to quickly go to other cities. And that scale and that momentum will build upon adoption. And so unlike mobile operators who have to deploy all the stations, all the base stations across town in order to actually receive the first 5G phone, very different. We actually can deploy in a looser mesh and then quickly fill in the mesh and satisfy the customer. Because the range on the vehicle, actually, the range that we can provide with our vehicle, with our battery, is tremendous. So therefore, it's really a question of increased convenience rather than actually can you use the vehicle on the network.
My final question to you, and we will need to know this. You're saying you're ready to go to market. You're going to do it from Delhi. What is the pricing plan? I don't expect you to reveal it, but even if you can, that'll be great. How much will a swap cost?
Yeah, in Taiwan, I can only use the Taiwan example, It's because we have not defined the plan yet in India. But in Taiwan, the plan starts just like a mobile operator plan way back when. You pay for what you use. And then the more you pay upfront, the less you pay for overage. The more, the less you pay upfront, and then the more you pay for overage. So it's kind of like, text message minutes and minutes allowance, so to speak. With Taiwan, the plan starts at $10 US, and then all the way up to a $40 kind of all-you-can-ride plan in Taiwan. Now, of course, we have to design that plan appropriate for the usability in India, because people will use it differently in India. And only upon launching a pilot, only upon launching the system and some vehicles on the network, will we discover. And just like in Taiwan, we can continue to add and adjust our plan so that the customers are super happy. And without customers on the network is nothing. So we are aiming to really launch a network by the end of this year and start the pilot. and then let our customers feedback to us as to what they're looking for the network, and then grow with the partners and grow with the customers together.
So if you're getting ready to launch soon, this year, beginning from Delhi, I'm sure you will be visiting India and Delhi very soon. That's where I live. So let's hope we meet soon, and maybe you can show us what your infrastructure is going to look like and how to swap one of your batteries with a Hero Moto EV bike.
Awesome. I look forward to that day.
And that's about all the time we have on this leg of Startup Central. Thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely evening.